My life started out pretty dark. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and my family was relatively dysfunctional. We loved each other, but it wasn't always the best. I had been suffering a lot. I went through a lot of dark times. I met a lot of dangerous, bad people, and they left an impact on me. And during this time, all that I had left was my boyfriend at the time. We went to South Dakota and things just got worse. I was struggling with a lot of things that I picked up in Arizona. A lot of it was addiction, a lot of it was abuse. I really gave up on life.
And usually their mental illness gets deeper. I'll just tell you up front. It gets deeper because Satan can cloud their mind even more and force them to think and participate and do things that will cloud their mind and cloud their spirituality even more.
It became worse when in South Dakota, I really became alone. Nobody wanted to reach out, nobody wanted to hang out, and it just made me even more isolated than what I was. I lost my job, my housing, my boyfriend. All I could do was call up my brother and ask him for help. My brother just hopped on a plane the next day, came up, and we went home back to Arizona. I started talking to my family again, and things were getting better. On top of that, I started talking to a high school friend. Turns out he was going through the same thing that I was going through, almost exactly the same. And so we started talking. The difference, though, was he just kept talking about how much better his life is, how much joy he had in it, and how much the church was helping him. And I wanted to learn how to get that positivity into my life. And then one day, he started talking about FHE and the church.
Sometimes it takes someone that they trust, who they're okay with knowing that they're struggling mentally, to be able to take them out and give them a social experience. Because sometimes all it takes is a close friend to take them out, and then they are able to self-start, get going on their own.
I met his bishop, and both of them introduced me to the missionaries. And I said, cool, I want to take lessons with the missionaries. Those missionaries, each lesson talked about exactly what I went through, word for word, without me telling them anything. And I just looked at them and I said, what's next?
We felt like just really strongly that the first thing we wanted the teacher was actually the plan of salvation. And it was just like priceless to be able to teach the plan of salvation to her and see like the lights go off in her head. Although she was hearing it for the first time, like she knew it was true.
It was one of the best experiences I've had in my life because I finally learned how to smile and have joy in my life. I didn't have to worry about any of my past problems. I didn't have to worry about the pain. I didn't have to worry about being alone ever again. And I finally found that joy with the missionaries. The best day of my life was getting baptized. I had a missionary meeting one day, and I actually told my friend Ammon about 2 days prior to this meeting that I was going to get baptized in exactly 1 month. So I walked into that meeting and we all sat down and I looked at the missionaries and I said, I have something to tell you. And they looked at me and they said, we actually have something to ask you. And I was like, well, okay, what do you have to ask me? And they said, are you willing to get baptized exactly 1 month from now on April 16th? And I said, no way. And I looked at my friend Ammon and I said, you're a witness to this.
We prayed before going in, and just like the Spirit was telling us, like, you need to invite her to be baptized. And that was kind of crazy. But at the same time, like, we had confidence that it was going to happen just because the Spirit was so strong.
I went in, there were so many people from the church there to support me, and I felt like I truly had a family.
It was just all around such a spiritual experience and just a joy, really. She came out, she was excited. Like, she felt it.
The genuine friend is a good minister.
I got baptized and I felt everything wash away from my soul, and I rose back up and I was clean. But more importantly, I had a covenant with God, and He's never left my side from that moment. I've always had Him with me, and I've always felt the peace in my soul since then. And to this day, it's been over a year since I've been baptized. I still have this peace in my soul that I'll never have to go through things alone. I will always have someone there with me, protecting me, and I can make it through anything now. I don't have to suffer anymore. My favorite scripture is Mosiah 18:9. And it struck out to me as being such a fundamental piece of who I want to be. My favorite part of it was standing with those that mourn and mourning with them. To me, that shows being genuine and suffering through with your brothers and sisters, but also being in the light of God and moving on and being there to support each other, because the mourning will end. Your grief will end. Your suffering will end with God.